Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. So Baze and Chirrut was one of the pairings I was very excited about checking out upon dropping of Unlikely Heroes, that they weren't just quite working out in the meta. However, since that time we've had the 2-player set drop, we've had a revamp of the reprint list, and now we've had a Balance of the Force. So what I wanted to do today was go back and revisit Guy Love and see if it's got any legs. Hey there, Star Wars Destiny folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando and the Commando Cast. Happy Destiny Friday. I hope your guys' week has been well, and I hope everyone is super excited about seeing or playing in and or just checking out the top-tier competitive performance in the mid-cycles this weekend. That's going to be something interesting to see because a lot of these guys have only had 10-ish days, whatever it was, to prep for this. So the innovation should be interesting. We'll see if my prediction of Hondo Pre just doing good for reliability pans out or not. We will see. Probably wrong. I also want to just remind everybody, and you're going to see a lot of this until the date, the Rumble in P-Town, right? So that was announced, I believe, last week or the week before. Saturday, April 9th of this year. It's not that far away. We are doing an IRL tournament in Portland, Oregon, USA. That's my home, near and dear. It's also Rebel Trader's home. We are working together to get this on and promote it and make it happen and be a good time. So come join us in town. Just disclaimer: masks will be required as per local mandates or we will follow local mandates at the time. Currently, here masks are required. We will see what happens in the future. But that just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. But yeah, come make those plans because you got to get those flights figured out and all that. All right, folks. So Guy Love. Now these guys, Baze and Chirrut, they're really cool. The design space on these guys, I talked about on plenty before. You can go back and watch the old video if you want. But why do that? We're here talking about it now, right? Baze and Chirrut, they play off of each other, and it's perfect, right? So remember, Chirrut, turn one of your character dice showing a blank to a side with a value of 1. Or to any side instead if you spot Baze Malbus. Now, I do want to point out for the purpose of tonight's episode, reminder that is a character die showing a blank, okay? Because we're going to be talking about blanks a lot tonight. And Baze is PA, spend 1 resource or spot Chirrut to resolve one of your dice showing a modifier as if it did not have a modifier, right? So plenty of modifiers, plenty of blanks. However, again, Chirrut only works on character die blanks. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. Now, there's a couple new toys that have come out since, to be fair, it's only a couple. But there's a couple toys that have come out that have made some other toys otherwise relevant. And specifically the one that I've had my eye on since it came out is the new version of the DH-17 blaster pistol that came out of the 2-player set, right? So this one is a gray. It has the same sides as the DC-17. I hope I got those numbers right. I believe I did. The DC-17, which was out of Redemption, I think. Yes, Redemption. And I'm pretty sure Redemption. Either way, the same sides, but it's gray. And it redeploys when it's on a red character. And it also works with Armory. Because remember, Armory doesn't have to be a red weapon. It does not have to be a red weapon, but it does have to be played on a red character, but you're going to be playing this on a red character anyway. So it works for Armory just fine. Okay, so lots of good stuff happening here. And so, okay, anyway, point of that coming out is I used to be playing, in most of my builds, I ended up playing Yoda's lightsaber because it's a good 1-drop, which is pretty perfect for kind of a deck like this, which doesn't ramp super great, right? You're playing a lot of red and gray upgrades in here, so you're generally not doing like binds all things or something like that. So you do kind of have to do like a lower profile and kind of ramp in or overwrite in to what you want on your bigger upgrades. All right, so why this one is so big is because I can replace Yoda's, which has no blanks, with this, which has 2 blanks. And you're like, well, more blanks, that's really dumb. Well, I do want to remind you of this card that came out in Unlikely Heroes, which is I Don't Need Luck, right? This is a Baze Chirrut card. Cost 1, spot 2 of your dice showing a blank to turn each of those dice to any side. That's pretty good, right? Because we have Awakening, right? We have Awakening, which is still legal. Okay, Awakening is still legal. And it lets you, now it is an action, right? So you can't do any modifiers with it. But the point is, I don't know why I brought that up immediately after, right? Because that's kind of dumb, because why would you flip to a modifier, right? But the point is you're going to have other modifiers out. That's where I was going, is you can have other modifiers out there and then flip into maybe something that's not a modifier, right? And then remember, Baze can do his thing. Actually, Baze is also character die, right? No, Baze is not character die. Anyway, all right. Now, the other change I have made, now this one was out the whole time, but the other change I have made, because now previously I was using Defensive Perimeter. Defensive Perimeter is the one that lets you remove a die to give 2 shields. Very, very, very good. Not underplaying that at all. But now that we're going to be trying to make a little more use out of our blanks, it made more sense to me to try and get mileage out of Palace of the Jedi. This deck also did move a little faster than I thought it was going to once I was playing with it. So I'm okay trying to do, plus the meta is also slowed down a little bit. So I think that Palace of the Jedi is going to be okay. You actually win a fair amount of roll-offs with this against the right decks, which is always the statement. So I think you have a pretty decent chance of getting this first round. Now remember, this one has a 1 focus, a 2 shield, a resource, and then 2 specials that effectively are worth 2 damage. You just have to sequence it right. Right. In first turn, that could be a problem, but generally not. Right, so what I'm going to go ahead and throw up right now is my current list as I'm running it now. That doesn't mean it's going to not change anymore. But this incorporates some of the new changes I've made. So for upgrades, I have 2 Chirrut staff. I know it's unique, but it's a 1-drop that's really good. And again, you can overwrite it. 2 DC 17s, 2 DH 17s, 2 security batons, that's the big boy in here, and 2 Westars. Westars are just way too good not to play. Now, I kind of wish I could play like 11 upgrades. I just haven't quite found the right thing. There's plenty of options out there, like Kara's Blasters, actually not a horrible option for this because it's got all sorts of gun sides. So I could try that. But I couldn't really decide what I really wanted to cut down in terms of other stuff because these guys have some pretty good options available. Okay, so for supports, I've got Armory and Awakening. For events, I have Crash Landing. I have Field Medic. Now remember, both of those are legal in the reprint list. 2 Heroic Protector. That's really good. Remember, Baze does in fact have Guardian. I have 1 I Don't Need Luck. I've been flipping back and forth between 1 and 2 of those. I think I'm probably going to end up on 2 of those because we have so many blanks here. Do remember, though, that, Chirrut's only has 1. We have 2 on both the DCs. The Security Baton has 2, which is a really good one to flip, but you do get to reroll that, right? So a lot of times that doesn't come up. Westar only has 1. So that's why I've kind of been warbling between 1 and 2 of that I Don't Need Luck. But in terms of that card, like being a surprise out of the hole, it's pretty good mid-game, right? Because a lot of times they'll, especially if you get your battlefield, a lot of times they'll try to claim to get it. And you've got a couple blanks out there, maybe 1 card, and they're like, all right, he's going to have to reroll. Maybe he hits me with something. And like you could flip into, depending on what you've got out there, you could flip into 4 or more damage functionalizing other dice, right? So, but I don't know that 2 is right. So, like I said, I've been warbling back and forth on that. What I've been switching it out with is Pacify. I have landed on running 1 Pacify. It's good removal, but it's not super great removal. And you actually do okay here for shields. So better than you'd think, right? They don't really have any direct shield gen, but you do okay. All right, so for removal, we have Power of the Tribe, of course. I do have Roll in the Mud. I have 2 of those just because it feels really good right now with Hondo everywhere, or at least I think Hondo everywhere, so run in there. I do run run 2 safety. This one also feels pretty good with having Guardian, right? So, I mean, usually it depends how it goes. Some people will go for Baze first. Most people, I think, usually try to go for Chirrut first. But once Baze starts doing Guardian thing, I guess you kind of help them anyway. Like I said, if you can get some damage distributed around, run to safety is really, really good value. But it's not always great. That's why I'm only running 1 of it. Then we have 2 of This Is War. Remember, this is the new one that if you spot a blue and activate 1 of your reds to remove a die not showing damage with a value of 1 or less, do you remember you would get the Guardian still on that, right? So actually, that's to be fair, that one's one more that maybe you could go the other way because we have a lot of control here. We have a lot of control, so going something a little more on the aggressive side with I don't need luck is probably viable. So like I said, I've been toying around with this one over the last week or so, trying to kind of get it where I want it. Like I said, there's maybe one more upgrade I'd like to run. Kara's Blaster's been in the running. It's come back out just because it doesn't have that redeploy. Because it only has it if it's on Kara. But this deck is a lot of fun. It really does struggles into ramp decks, right? And it kind of has the old OG Raylo, not the OG, the Raylo problem. They're becoming OG at this point. It kind of has the Raylo issue of when one goes down, they kind of sputter a little bit. So you really have to make sure that you've got those redeploys out, and that's really the key of, I think, those 2 ones that can go on Baze. That's really important, right? 1-drop redeploys on the right guy who's going to be sucking up a lot of your damage. That's value, right? And worst case scenario, you're overriding those with 2s or 3s that also redeploy, right? Because your Westars redeploy and your security batons redeploy. So, and that's kind of the dream world, is to get your security batons out because it flips over, right? Because remember, Baze is all guns all the time, and Chirrut is mixed, right? And he's got that big old +3. But that big old +3, unless you have your Awakenings out, kind of becomes a problem. Well, you get your security batons down, overwrite them, and then they move over. And then they've got a lot of melee to deal with a lot of rerolls, and you can still do things with blanks. So, yeah, not a bad deal there. So, anyway, like I said, this is something just a theory crafting episode. Been playing around with, kind of seeing where these guys fit, because not only did they get more tools, I mean, everybody got more tools, quote unquote, but a lot of people lost tools in the balance. So I've really been trying to figure out where these guys fit in the new meta. I still don't think they're top tier, like they can't take on directly like a pre-Hondo, because I've played that match. They kind of lose out just to it's just a lot of dice, and you don't have as many as they do, right? And it takes more to blow down their guys. So you kind of struggle in that match. They do okay in like a wide matchup because these guys put out a pretty fair amount of damage early, so they can cut somebody down pretty quick if they're low health. So they do okay in that matchup. But like I said, they lose to big wide ramp. But you know what? What doesn't? What doesn't? So anyway, folks, that'll do it for me tonight. Thank you for tuning in here on Destiny Friday. And you know what? Just giving a shout, I was contacted by somebody today and said, hey man, the number of Destiny videos has been down. And it's like, you know what? Completely fair. It has. It's really hard to find games at this point, right? Sometimes I sit on TTS for 30 minutes and then I just call it a night. So, you know, if you want to hook up and play some games, let's make that happen. Call out to all the DC team members. Let's get this going. I know our tournaments have been few and far between. That's because there's been a lot of ARH events, and we play around the ARH events. And that's just the way it goes, right? When we're on an every other week schedule, and ARH is scheduling stuff kind of just, you know, when they want to schedule stuff, which is their prerogative. And we try to avoid conflicts there. It ends up having spacing. So, yeah, we've got a 3-week gap here, but we'll be back soon with some tournaments. So, yeah, just throwing that out there. Destiny, I am not stopping doing Destiny by any means. Just keeping the Destiny stuff going and playing when you can see I've been working on stuff, just not actively recording stuff because, you know, sometimes after I've been sitting for 30 minutes, my head is elsewhere and I don't want to put out complete garbage content. So anyway, that's enough. You know, just a little disclaimer there for those that did watch to the end. So, and if you did, thank you, and thank you for still being here for Star Wars Destiny. So that'll do it today, folks. Nothing else. Go Commando.